Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry. And I just want to apologize to Mr. Newkirk and Heather, Ross and Heather. I'm so sorry about this. We seem to be having some technical difficulties, and just a title card in silence. Can you hear me now? Hi, everyone. Um, So I just wanted to apologize for that last minute. We just have a new computer and we have some technical difficulties. Maybe we need to get some conscious technologies. Maybe that would work. I want to apologize to Mr. Ross and Heather Newkirk. I'm so sorry that this introduction is not what I expected it to be, but we are trying, and we are going to be having ourselves back up and running in a moment. It's always like this. It's always this way. So, yeah. So, we're going to go back here, and I'm going to go back and contact. Okay, so we're going to get. Okay. So, we're going to get Ingrid back, and we're going to get started. So maybe I should have done that. Maybe it's a sign of the gods that I talk too much and we should just get started. So I think I will do that. All right. Okay. So Heather, someone's saying Heather, Ingrid, whenever you're ready, we're ready and we can get started. We can just join each other again and get started. Okay, so we're waiting for Ingrid to join us. It should be any minute now. So, there she is. There she is. And then we'll take it from there. But still, I'm glad that everybody's here tonight. I'm glad that we are here because it is so. Hi, Ingrid. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're. Okay, there we go. So maybe we should. I think it's a sign of the gods. Maybe I should stop talking, and we should get started. So I will get started. And so I just want to say, hey, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but we are going to get started. So I'd like to introduce a dear friend of mine, Miss Ingrid Nevar, and she is currently working with Conscious Technologies LLC. And they are creating new and amazing technologies that are going to revolutionize the way we take care of ourselves and our body and our spirit. So I'd like to introduce Ingrid Nevar. She is a certified American Sign Language interpreter, and she is a Reiki master teacher. She is a Biofield tuner and researcher, and she is a 3, 5, and 12D consciousness coach. So without further ado, Miss Ingrid Nevar. Hi, Ingrid. How are you doing? So sorry for the runaround, but here we go.
All right. There's a lot of incoherence in the field.
And it's
So we'll
still,
bring some coherence to it.
but there's still Mercury retrograde, so maybe it's still rearing its ugly head. So we'll do that. So I'm just going to change. I'm going to do it full screen right there. So whenever you're ready, did you want to share your screen with us?
Sure.
Or do you want to sort of give us a little bit more introduction about what you're doing? And because I know you're doing some work with Conscious Technologies right now in terms of their office space, I think, right? You want to tell us about that?
So, so I don't actually work for Conscious Technologies.
Okay.
It's owned by a couple of friends of mine, and I do work with them in various capacities. I met them because I was volunteering for the parent organization that Ross's father started.
Okay.
So I met them through the Lightfield community via the Lightfield Foundation, which used to be just about 45 minutes from me in Western Massachusetts. But and I volunteered for a number of years there throughout the COVID years, and I started doing additional things for the Lightfield, and I was also working with Ross's wife Heather out of the healing center that she runs. At the time, it was in Wakefield, Rhode Island. Um, After a while, we had the opportunity to purchase, they purchased um, a farmhouse and some acres of land. And we've been renovating for about 2 years. And so I do biofield tuning through Awaken Wholeness Center in Richmond, Rhode Island. We are not technically open yet. We are still at the end stages of our renovation project.
Okay.
But we hope, and I hope we're open by, I was there a few days ago and I was saying, are we looking at the end of April, the beginning of May, mid-May? And because when we purchased the place, we thought we're going to open in like a few months.
Okay.
That's never happened. It's continued to be sort of pushed down the line, but we really are pretty close. And the healing facility has like 10 rooms in addition to this huge yoga space, which is gorgeous. I think we can host up to between like 40 or 50 people in the room. And we are showcasing Ross's technologies at the Healing Center. So I will get into these technologies, but just to go through them,
Sure.
we will have the light field there. So the light field in Western Massachusetts, we closed the office in April of last year, and we have moved the unit to Richmond. We are putting it together, and once that's all said and done, the light field will be present. We will also have the technology, we will have a room, a shungite room. We will have a room with the core harmonizer. I don't know if you can hear my core harmonizer playing right now, but we'll have a meditation room with the core harmonizer. We will have the Cohere mat available for people. And we will also have a quantum flow unit available for people. And like I said, I'll get into those technologies, but those are the technologies that will be there. Oh, we'll also have a B-Box,
Okay.
which is a new technology, which I haven't had a chance to experience yet. But I'm very much looking forward to that. And we're going to have a number of different things. We have several practitioners that are going to be running out of there. And we'll have workshops and host, at least yearly, if not monthly potlucks. We'll see what happens. But we're very much looking forward to getting to that point. And then with Ross, when there are expos that Conscious Technologies goes to, I will sometimes go to those expos with him and Heather and help to run the tech. When I was volunteering for the light field, I was a light field operator, a volunteer light field operator, and we had a Cohere mat there. So I ran those two pieces of technology in addition to Grace. And like I said, I'll get into that when we get into the slideshow. But that's basically what I do. And I am talking about their tech, not because I work for them, but because the light field technology and conscious technologies has completely changed my life.
Okay.
In addition to, I was sharing with Crystal earlier that I was recently approached by someone in one of the places that I interpret regularly. And they kind of approached me in the hall and said, "Can I hug you?" And I was like, okay. And it's a woman who I've known for years and years and years. Lovely woman, but she was just like, "You are always so positive. You are always so positive. And we've been talking and we think we want to hire you to come and talk to us because we can't figure out how you do it. But you always make me feel better." And I feel like the shift in me is palpable to people who know me. It's palpable to me. I'm a much happier person in life. And I feel much more prepared to navigate the time period that we're in right now. I feel like I have the tools to be able to do that. And not that that's always easy, but I have the framework to utilize and the tools at my disposal to be able to utilize to make more conscious choices about the world that I want to live in and that I want to help to co-create.
Exactly. Wow.
So that said, um, I'm happy to start the presentation if you like.
Yeah. So just before we go into that, you're saying that there was going to be a shungite root. Now I know that shungite is a type of stone, I think, right? Did you want to just explain? I mean, are you going to go through with the whole thing? But just quickly, what is a shungite root?
So it is it doesn't exist yet. We haven't created it yet,
Oh, okay.
but based on my conversations with Ross and Ross's excitement about it, it's going to be a meditation room in which we're going to create like a shungite cave, basically.
Oh, okay.
And it'll be a room that people can go in to truly ground and meditate and
Wow.
be in a field that has like no EMF coming in. And so that I'm super excited. I'm super
Wow.
shungite is a mineral or a meteor, however it is that it gets described, that is used in a lot of the tech that Ross has.
Okay, great. Well, we're definitely going to get started. I just want to just apologize first and foremost to, I think Mr. Newkirk heard me. He's like, the owner's work is going to be watching tonight. And I am so and I'm just thinking it's a good thing I wasn't just sort of letting myself go. But I just want to just apologize to Ross and to Heather for all that. I'm really sorry. But I'm really looking forward to learning more tonight. And if ever you guys are going to come to Canada, please let me know. So I will let Ingrid get started. So, Ingrid, do you want to share your screen with us?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you have any questions, guys, put them in the chat, the live chat. And if you want to ask Ingrid a question online, then let us know and I can give you a call. Let me know if you've sent an email or if you want to, you know, have me call you, then please do. And or just ask the questions in the live chat. So let's get started. Okay, Ingrid, let's go.
Great. I want to start out by saying, Koba, you have been so generous with me this week and supportive of me to move through this slideshow that um, you mostly created. But you did such a great job. It's so gorgeous. I can't take credit for it because you did such a great job. I just sent you photos. So I'm going to be talking about Conscious Technologies LLC, located in Rhode Island. All conscious technology is created for the well-being and the enlightenment of humankind. This is a little bit me, so that folks know, but you said who I am and what I do. I'm going to get into the mission of Conscious Technologies, who Ross is, who his father was, the products that they offer to folks for both the body and the home and all of your consciousness. They have EMF harmonizing technologies, and I'll explain a little bit about that. And then also a little bit of what the future holds. And then, it's a short presentation, mostly for the most part, unless people have questions. I also have some video queued up so that we can hear Ross explain some things if people are interested in hearing from him. Not so much having him call in, but some videos that he has up on YouTube where he's been interviewed. I have a couple queued, but we don't have to do that. It's just an option if people want to hear
I
it
think we'd
directly.
like to hear it. You know, I think that we definitely want to hear what's going on. So, I mean, we have a good long show. So please feel free to play the videos, Ingrid. No problem.
Great. Oopsie. Here we go. All righty. So, are we moving along to the next? Okay. So the mission of Conscious Technologies, it's coming through. Okay.
Yeah.
Is basically to bring forth technologies that support the harmony of mankind and the world at large. The technologies have come through at this time to assist in empowering people and by bringing them into greater harmony, harmony with themselves, harmony with others, harmony with the planet. I've already shared with you that I often talk about Ross's tech to people because I am a living example of of massive transformation. Um, yeah, so
What can you
sort of
just give us a
exciting.
little bit of background? What were you going through at the time? So you were saying that you had a lot of massive transformation. Can you just sort of give us like a little bit of a cue, like what you were coming through something personal, and then you came upon the technology, and then it helped you?
Sure. Well, I've shared a little bit in the past about who I am and
Mm-hmm.
what my experiences growing up were as someone who
Yeah.
was aware of multiple dimensions
Mm-hmm.
and who had contact with my ET family and who um, grew up in a home that had a lot of let's just say metaphysical activity.
Mm-hmm.
In it, I was sort of always confused by humans and distraught by the way humans were treating one another. There was a lot of chaos. I had a large family. I was the youngest of five, and there was just a lot of stuff that I was exposed to that set up some challenges for me. And it didn't take me very long to start to get disgusted with human beings. And the way that that manifested for me was that I sort of lost faith in humanity. I lost faith in people's goodness. I lost faith in the potentials, even though I felt like I could see trajectories and I absolutely trusted the universe. I trusted my star family. And I trusted the people who ended up showing up to be teachers for me, who were seers, were psychics, were shaman, who were coming to me and saying, "I see you. You need help. Let me try to help you. The universe has directed me to you because you need some help." So even though I had some of that framework to guide me, I was still really saddened by what I had access to, the things that I could see taking place, and the trajectories that I saw for humanity based on where we were during the 1970s and the 1980s. And then the 1990s. I became somebody who was pretty depressed. I was pretty negative, and I was generally disgusted with humanity. And so even though there were definitely people that I had faith in, for the most part, I just couldn't comprehend why people were so unconscious, why people didn't think about how they treated one another, why they were unable to kind of access and see the things that I could access and see. It didn't necessarily make sense to me for a long time. So I got really negative. I got politically active. I got active in a number of communities, but I was filled with rage. I was filled with anger. I was filled with discontent. And even though that still led me into service work, because I believed that there was a larger role for me, um, and that I believed I was here to be of service, I ended up doing that. And I felt good about the work that I was doing, but I was still really challenged, not comprehending people. So the third dimension, I always sort of was challenged by. Now, I was a sign language interpreter for a long time. I also ended up going into massage therapy. I was a licensed massage therapist for a while, and via massage therapy, I was actually before massage therapy, I became a Reiki master teacher, and um, and then I was a licensed massage therapist, and then I became a biofield tuner, and I was working with frequency, I was working with energy. It was sort of helping me, but not entirely, because I was still sort of stuck. I was stuck with repetitive thoughts. I was stuck with oftentimes feeling like I didn't have options. Like no matter, I used to say a lot actually, no matter how fast I run, I can't get away from myself. I can't get away from the negative thought processes. Um, and then somebody that I went to massage school, I ran into them. Um, and we were catching up in the grocery store. And when she shared with me what she was doing, one of the things she was doing was volunteering at the light field. And I was like, the light field, what's that? And she said, well, look it up. If it's meant for you, you'll know. And so I immediately, the moment I got home, grabbed my laptop and I looked up the Lightfield Foundation and I called immediately and I made an appointment. And the synchronicities that were happening along the way were pretty profound as well. My father passed away that week. And so I had a series of downloads, what I call downloads. I had a series of intense experiences in that week that my father transitioned. And what I perceived as sort of reality melting in front of my eyes. The third dimension and time space literally was melting in front of my eyes. I was having a lot of trouble functioning. Um, I went to the light field and I had a light field session. And when I got there, I was interviewed by the operator and I explained to her what was happening, what I had gone through over the last week, and how that was manifesting for me that I was having such a hard time. And she was like, okay, well, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to put the unit on the lowest setting, on one of the lower settings for you. Generally speaking, we're feeling like people are ready for the higher settings, but it feels like you need some to be calmed. And so she ran me through a session of the light field. And when the session was complete and I stood up, everything was back to normal. And I was like, oh my God, who are you people? How did that just happen? I feel so calm. I feel so grounded. I feel so just
Well, you sound like you felt amazing.
coherent.
Like you sound like you just really just sorry, I'm just fanning myself. It's my own personal summer for women who understand that little comment there. So it's just it sounds like it really took you to the next level. It just I don't know. It seems like it realigned who you were. Like I mean, there was a lot of
It,
frenetic, like a bit of
yes,
a magnetic storm, and all of a
yes,
sudden, puff, you're calm. You know what I
yes.
mean?
And so when I got out, I was like, "Who are you people?"
Mm-hmm.
The operator said, "Well, we're having a potluck in a couple days," and it was the middle of winter. The storms, storms in New England,
Mm-hmm.
they're really intense. But she said, "We're having a potluck in a couple days. If you want to come back and meet everybody, you're welcome to."
Oh
And
my
I did.
God.
I did, and I am still friends with so many of these people.
Mm-hmm.
I adore them, but Mark Newkirk was the first, I would say,
That's the
well, he was the
father,
first
right?
scientist and engineer that I met, really. He was the first. I hadn't met Ross yet,
Okay.
but I met the Lightfield community and I met Mark, and we talked a little bit, and he was the first person who actually um, was welcoming to my experiences of the way that I understood interdimensionality, multidimensionality.
Okay.
He was like, "Yeah, there's a scientific explanation for that," and I was
Okay.
like, "What? You're not going to tell me that that I don't have a grip on reality?" And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Absolutely not. You are incredibly lucky to have those experiences,
Wow.
and most people want to have those experiences." And I was just like, "Okay, I am definitely hanging out with this community." And
But just to clarify, Mark was Ross's father, I think, right? If just to
yes,
clarify. Okay.
yes.
Great.
Ross is the third generation sort of engineer creator kind of person. So Mark Newkirk created the Lightfield Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a materials engineer with I believe it's 100 American patents and 900 international patents his name was on. for the technologies that he created, and the work that he was doing. He was brilliant, prolific guy.
Okay.
And Ross did a lot of work with his dad. And as you can see here, we've been looking at Ross for quite some time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ross.
Yeah, we'll get to it now.
We've been looking at Ross for quite
Poor
some
guy.
time. This is Ross.
Yes.
And so he's the creator and owner of Conscious Technologies. And Ross worked hand in hand with his dad for years, and helped him build the light field. Ross is the author of a book called Unsubscribe. It's a story about one man's profound discovery. It's really, really tiny and great. He was the director of the Lightfield Foundation for quite some time after Mark transitioned out of his body.
Okay.
And that was in 2019. So I knew Mark for a couple of years. I met him at the beginning of 2017, and then he passed away towards the end of 2019. But in getting to know Mark, and especially after his passing, I got to know Ross and his wife Heather much more. And I've been working with them ever since. Ross also, in addition to helping his dad create Lightfield and Grace, he created and implemented the operator training program for the Lightfield for all of the volunteers. Because it was a nonprofit, it was completely run by volunteers. And Ross and Heather were instrumental in my training for me to become an operator, in explaining the tech, and just facilitating, grounding me into the concept of what all of their technology does. He was the director of manufacturing for Mobius Sciences, which is where Mark was working for quite some time, when he was working with several scientists who created the initial technology that was called the flow unit. And the flow was created first, and there was a transition where Mark left Mobius, and then after he left, the way that he explained it to me personally was that the universe downloaded the schematics for the light field into his brain to sort of support him, he believed, in his decision to leave Mobius, and to do something truly for humanity, that was not about profit, that was at the forefront, a a way for humans to consciously develop themselves, to learn how to be conscious co-creators of the planet that we all want, right? Everybody wants to be free. Everybody wants peace. Most people, most people want these things. And
Just to confirm to people, if you're just joining us now, we're looking at the presentation that Ingrid is doing, but we're going to be discussing the actual technology. So don't worry, she's going to explain all the technologies and shows pictures. So if you're just joining us now,
yes,
just wait up. We will be looking at all. So she's talking about different machines, but we will be explaining them later. Okay, sorry about that.
So he created these things that you see on screen. He has a long list of experiences and skill sets. Ross is pretty unique. That I have yet to see Ross not be able to figure out how to fix something, build something, do something, or just be a shining light for the ability to be a co-creator of what you want, to truly be self-empowered and free in and of yourself, and joyously engaged in living. Ross is really amazing. Ross and Heather are both an amazing couple, and I am really, really honored to work with them and to know them. So let's see. Ross also runs Vogel cut crystals. If you are familiar with Vogel cut crystals, if you're familiar with Vogel crystals, Marcel Vogel, worked for IBM for a long time. And then when he retired from IBM, he began playing with the healing effects of crystals cut to a specific specification. And you can look up Marcel Vogel. There are very few people left on the planet who worked directly with Marcel Vogel and can cut the crystals in that vein along the specifications that Marcel came up with. And so Ross actually knows someone who is able to do that. And so we have access to Vogel crystals. They're utilized in almost all of the technologies that Ross has created. Yeah, Ross will be also excited to offer everything that he offers via the Awaken Wholeness Center in Richmond.
Wow. This is, I mean, the more I hear about this, the more I'm like, oh my God. This is, you know what this is? Honestly, Mr. Mark Newkirk and Ross, you are the modern day Tesla. Like, and I mean Nikola Tesla, not the other stupid one, but the Nikola Tesla. I'm so
Um, well, yeah, there are so what we see here, I've pulled up on my slideshow a core harmonizer. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background. It's not super loud, but it's in the background where I am, and I was told when we tested before that that could be heard over the mic. Can that still be heard?
can we hear it a bit? It's a little subtle. I'll be honest with you, it's a little subtle. Were you able to sort of maybe pull your microphone or something a little closer so we can might hear it? We heard it before, but for some reason I'm not hearing it now. Did you want to try pulling your microphone closer?
Mean that? How's that?
Can we hear anything? No.
Oop.
We heard it before. It's weird because we heard it before. You can't adjust the volume on that thing, can you, eh?
So, not entirely because of where I'm sitting and how I am sitting. Did my screen share go away?
Ah, there it is. Now I can see you. And I have here checkbox. So you have your audio because we can't really hear it, but
Oh, is this better?
that's much better. Now we can hear it.
Alrighty. I think when I
Yeah.
rejoined, I forgot to turn on my surround sound here.
Surround sound. Okay. We can definitely hear it. Yeah.
Okay. Oopsie.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Where did my screen share go?
But it's really beautiful. While you're looking for, oh, there you are. So this music is based on what exactly? The music that we're hearing is very subtle, but what kind of music is it? Solfeggios? What kind of music is it exactly?
Um, Hang on one second while I try to get this.
Yeah, sure.
There we go.
There we go.
So this, what is sitting beside and playing, is what you see in this. This is a core harmonizer, and all of the tech from the light field through Grace, the core harmonizer, the quantum flow, the Cohere meditation mat, the body harmonizers, the cell phone harmonizers. Basically, what's being utilized in quantum and plasma physics is called it's information field. So it's the non-physical sciences. Okay.
Okay.
The way that I don't know if you've ever heard about information fields. They're also called auras. It's a consciousness field. It's a thought field. It is, this is where I thought it would be better to hear directly from Ross himself. So if you don't mind, I have a video that I can share where Ross explains it.
Okay, sure.
Quite, bear with me for just a moment. while I pull that one up.
But it was quite nice though. It was actually quite nice. It was very pretty. And is so the music is made what, digitally in the side of the machine, or is it more like a recorded sound? How does that work exactly? Oh, there you go.
Oopsie.
Well, that was really nice. But you know what though? I could definitely see myself buying a machine like that. That's for sure. That sounds really
Having
nice.
just a little trouble multitasking. Bear with me for just a
Yeah, no
moment.
worries. But I would love to have a machine like that. And like I said, Mr. Newkirk, if you're watching, please consider coming to Montreal. Please consider coming to Canada because we'd love to have that here. And it seems that the more I hear from Ingrid about the kind of machine and the kind of work that you do, is that it's really beneficial because before, when we were talking, before I completely bounced off the airwaves, I was saying how right now we really need this type of technology because the 2025 and 2026 are going to be absolutely crazy. So
Yeah.
it's just coming in at the right time. So are we ready to play that video?
Yes.
Okay, great. So take it away.
Okie dokie. Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
An information field. An information field is a non-physical field. Historically, there's been 5 non-physical fields in science that are readily understood and known, and that's the electric field, magnetic field, gravitational field, and strong and weak nuclear attraction field. And there's also something called an information field. The Russians actually were the first to discover information fields and utilize them and study them. And they spent $500 million studying this subject matter. So not only was it a real thing, they discovered how to utilize them. And so that was our premise into information fields. Is my dad actually worked with some of these top scientists briefly that shared with him about information fields, and he had studied for many years on creating technologies to raise human consciousness. And so he realized that using information fields in order to create a very coherent, harmonious field was necessary to do this. And so our technologies, depending on the one we're talking about, utilize information from light, information from music, and geometries, which inherently create their own information field. And someone might say, well, what is an information field? I still don't understand. Well, an information field, you can see it in, some people have heard of and can see auras, an auric field around a being. You've probably seen pictures. Some people have seen pictures in, the Bible and other ancient drawings and stuff with this glow behind the person's head. That's an auric field. And you can actually train yourself through different practices to be able to see that field. And there's advantages of being able to see that field because you can actually understand what is going through that person's consciousness. Are they good intent, bad intent? Are they struggling with something physically? So energy healers can see that field, and they can make energetic adjustments to the patient or client to help bring coherence into their field and actually change that auric field. Another example of an information field that most people have felt is nature. If you go out into a deep forest, and especially if you have your shoes off and you're just standing there in nature, even if you don't have your shoes off, and you're deep in the woods and you're not on your cell phone or device, and you're just quiet, you just feel better. That is a coherent information field that nature is giving off. All beings give off an information field. All things give off an information field as well. Sometimes you can go into a space and it wigs you out, or it feels really good. That's an information field that you're picking up on. You can sometimes feel uneasy about someone or very comfortable with someone. That's an information field that is being given off. So we learned how to create technologies that would amplify and create information fields, and also take the information from light and music. So we actually have a physical source of light. Sometimes it's in the case of a laser. Sometimes it's in the case of full spectrum bulbs and other sources. And we're taking the information from that we're all attracted to, and then projecting it into a space. So you actually don't have to see the physical light, because we're getting the essence of it, if you will. And the same applies with the music. Most of our technologies play music, and most people like the sound of the music, but we're actually, again, taking the essence or the information from that music and conditioning space with it, if you will. And when someone enters into that environment, they have the opportunity to more readily connect to higher levels of awareness and consciousness. Because the truth of the matter is we're omniscient beings, all-knowing beings, and we're multidimensional. And a lot of us are walking around in our heads, and we just think that we're separate and alone, but that's actually not the case. We're actually all interconnected, and we have.
What happened? Okay. Not sure what happened there, but is it us or is it Ingrid? Not sure what happened there, but oh, Zoom quit unexpectedly. Okay. All right. So wow. This is really turning out to be quite the evening.
But it is
there
nice
is.
to have some support from these technologies.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We seem to be having a lot of technical difficulties this evening. I just find it so strange.
Yeah, Zoom's doing some funky stuff.
I know. It's really
So I'm
strange.
actually gonna stop the screen share
Okay.
because that was a great explanation.
Okay, great.
Great explanation. And so let me go back to the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with me for just a moment.
Sure, no problem.
While I look for that, what I can say about the core harmonizer is it's a piece of technology that was created for homes and businesses. And it was designed to bring harmony and love into spaces. So the field that the core harmonizer creates is imbuing the auric field with 432 and 528 frequencies. Let's see here.
Okay, so that means that with the different, so it's the different tones that affect the body. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
It's the frequencies within the music and within the light and within the nested geometries.
Okay.
They're creating a field of resonance. And the longer, I feel like the longer the core harmonizer, for example, is plugged in and playing, the larger that field gets. If we think about what I was sharing earlier about the light field was this huge, wooden structure that you would lay inside. It would get cranked open and you'd walk up a set of stairs and you'd lay inside. And we can look at all that if you're interested
Yeah,
in seeing.
absolutely. Yeah, tonight we're going to be looking at all that. Yeah.
So, okay, bear with me for just a second.
And can I just sort of ask, when you say that, when you say geometry, I mean, I know what the word means, but do you mean geometry in terms of geometry of sound, or do our actual geometric shapes or geometric things going on? Can you just sort of explain that a little bit more? I'm not sure I understand what that means exactly.
I can show you.
Sure, absolutely. Anyway, while we're waiting for Ingrid to load up those images, If you could,
go.
oh, there you go. If you could, sir, never mind all the technical difficulties that we're having, and please like and subscribe this video. I hope you do. It's not always as bad, but we really appreciate you being here tonight. And if you could just like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. And why not? Yeah, subscribe to our channel. And if you want, you can also become members of the Starseed Lightworkers Collective on Meetup. So I think that Ingrid has the image loaded up. So that's the light field. Is that it?
Correct. This is the light field. This is the website for the Lightfield Foundation. So you can see here what the light field looks like. It's this huge geometric shape. And you walk up the stairs, you lay down, your feet go in the smaller portion and your head goes up inside the larger piece. And then the stairs get wheeled away and the unit gets cranked closed. Generally speaking, people, wouldn't experience any kind of claustrophobia because it's just a frame you can stick your arm through, and if you needed to, you could crawl through. But you're in the frame and you're inside multiple nested geometries. Literally, when that globe is closed, you are inside a tetrahedron. You're inside actual geometries.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
Okay.
And so it's the nested geometries that create a field of resonance. It's the sound that's embedded into the music, right? There's an overlay, so to speak, what happens is that there's a transposition of 432 and 528 frequencies into the music, so that there's harmony being projected around, coherence being projected around. And coherence just basically means that everything fits, everything's whole, everything's clean and working in proper order. And it's a field that gets generated if you imagine like a pulsing field of energy, right? It's embedded with the geometries, with the frequency of those geometries, with the frequency of the light and the frequency of the sound. And then that creates such a field of coherence that when you go into that field and you lay inside the technology, and this is true of all of the pieces of technology that you lay inside of, you're laying in such a field of coherence that once you lay there, your natural inclination, your natural reaction is just to exhale and breathe and begin to relax. You de-stress. The technology, the flow unit used to be called, Mark used to call it de-stressing technology. The quote here is by Mark. He said, I quote him frequently because I lead discussion groups around helping folks shift our frame of reference and become more empowered and more self-regulated about stopping that train that your brain gets on and utilizing the ability to be sort of in that 0 point and make more conscious choices. Mark very famously said, if you surround an individual who has his own information field or aura with a coherent field that is more coherent than his own, he will drop the distortions and his own energetic field gets progressively stronger and more coherent. The field effect initiates a reduction of stress load distortions, and an individual progressively remembers who he is. All beings in an unstressed state have an innate self-healing ability that is virtually limitless.
Wow. That is, that is so inspiring because
It's incredibly profound.
it's something that we need now because people are so like, I don't have to go over it again and again. We are in such a state of distress right now in this world. and
Correct.
especially in 25, 26. Oh my God. Now I have an interesting question here. And it was actually a question that I was thinking about, but I was going to ask later. But I have a question here from Hybridor. And it's
Okay.
not about the light field, but he says, where can one purchase a core harmonizer? I don't know if you want to go over that now or later, but that's a little top.
We absolutely will get to that. You can purchase
Okay.
core harmonizers from Conscious Technologies.
Okay.
They can be shipped anywhere in the world.
Okay, great. And I think I've put if I haven't, which I think I did, but yes, I did actually. I put all the information down in the notes below. So you have the link to the website, Conscious Technologies, and
Yeah.
also the Vogel crystals. I think I also put that information there, but I'll go over it again. But it's definitely there, and we'll talk about it at the end. And yeah, so I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
So this is just a continuation of the light field. If people are interested in looking at it, looking into Mark, looking into the Light Field Foundation and what the Light Field has done, there's a ton of information on the website. There's information about what he did. We have posted videos of Mark's lectures that he filmed in the last several years of his life. There's sets. There's one set called The Astounding Convergence of Physics and Metaphysics. But there's a number of videos where he gives lectures and talks about basically the last like 110 years, 120 years of quantum and plasma physics and the implications for humanity with that information. He stressed this a lot when I knew him, when he was still alive, that, and he says it in his lectures, that that all of the physics, all of the sciences that are still taught in schools and in universities, unless you're a physics major, they're still teaching Newtonian physics.
Yeah.
Still teaching the physical sciences, as if we are machines, the mechanistic physical sciences is what they're focused on. They are not focused on the world that Tesla tried to introduce. They are not focused on the unseen world of energetics that Ross described sort of very quickly in that video, where he talks about the different states, the different types of non-physical information fields, like electronics, the electrical field, the magnetic field, strong nuclear fields, weak nuclear fields, and then aether, right? The information field technology. I think I missed one, but that's this basic idea of, we have learned so much in the last 110, 120 years that schools are not teaching people. And some of us believe that the reason that's not being taught is because the physical sciences teach us that what heals us and who we are, and what's more important is what's on the outside of us.
Of course.
But quantum and plasma physics empowers people to comprehend that who they are. Like Ross said, we are omniscient, multidimensional beings. We have literally unlimited potential that we are only beginning to scratch the surface of what we are capable of.
But that right there, that's the problem, because you don't want to tell people that, by the way, you're unlimited. You have unlimited potential. No. We don't want that. We want you to be a machine. We want you to shut up, and we want you to just sit back and just do what I tell you, and that's it. And it's that aspect that I think, that stops people like Tesla, or stops other people, like Mr. Newkirk, from really getting this information out there. But that time is changing now. And that's why I'm saying that this kind of technology is right where it has to be right now. I think I know they've been working on it for a long time, but I don't think people were really ready for it 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I know some people probably were, but you know what I mean? Like the masses. But right now we are at a level of complete mass awakenings. And right now, more than ever, this kind of technology is going to be out there, and it's really going to revolutionize the way we do things. So I'm really, really excited about what's coming up. Anyways, enough talk from me.
Yes. So again, here I'm screen sharing. This is the core harmonizer. It's a unit that uses music, nested geometries, and specific materials to create a coherent and harmonious information field. The music, which comes from an internal speaker, is located at the base of the unit. It resonates up through the geometric chamber and out through the top sides of the core harmonizer, creating a peaceful environment. If you look on the website, if you look up Ross Newkirk, if you look up Conscious Technologies, if you look up the Lightfield Foundation, you will see the amazing amounts of videos and or images of children, of cats, of dogs crawling, hugging the core harmonizer, laying alongside it, falling asleep on top of the unit. There, it's just an amazing thing. And I remember when Ross created the core harmonizer, he actually brought it from his home. He brought it to a potluck that we were having for the Lightfield. And I didn't know it was going to be there. I hadn't seen Ross and Heather in a while. And Ross was like, Ingrid, come into the back room and talk to me. I was like, hey, how you doing? So I was catching up with him. And there's this kind of thing looking like a little R2D2. I describe it like a little wooden R2D2 unit there. And it's kind of between us, and we're starting to catch up. And I'm starting to be distracted because of the feeling that this thing is throwing off. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I just stopped and I was like, Ross, what is this thing and why do I want to hug it? I want to throw my arms around it and not let it go. What is this? And he was like, this is the core harmonizer. This is the latest piece of technology. And I was like, oh my God. He was like, can I quote you? So he did at one point have that quote up or on somewhere to say, what is this thing? And I just want to hug it, because that's the feeling that it gives you. I also, when I moved into the home that I'm in, I'm just going to move on the slideshow a little bit here.
Sure.
Because there are other images. When I first moved into this place that I am in now, that was the core harmonizer that I rented.
Sorry, Ingrid, there's a little box in front of your image there. Did you want to? I don't know what that is.
There we go. That's us.
Oh, okay.
That's you and I in the Zoom box.
Oh, okay.
And so this is the core harmonizer. This is a core harmonizer that I rented at that point, and I brought it into this house when it was empty, and I invited a ton of people over for the weekend to just be with the house, be with the core harmonizer, and a number of those people were deaf. And one of them was, she's a psychic, she channels, she is really well known in the deaf community. And she came over, and when she came to the front door, she was like, when I saw how old your house was, I almost got back in my car and went back to Boston. And I was like, why? And she said, because I can't go into old homes. But the closer I get to the closer I got to the house, the more curious I am. Why does this house feel new? Is what she said to me. And I said, well, probably because of the core harmonizer that's been here all weekend. Why don't you come in and meet the core harmonizer? And being deaf, profoundly deaf, she was just like, what are you talking? Is this a music thing? Is this something that people who can hear are into? And I was like, no, touch it. Touch the thing. And she was like, why? And I said, just touch it. Just indulge me, touch it. So she put her hands on it and she was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then I said, yeah, just sit with it for a few minutes. And there were a number of other deaf people here and other interpreters that were here, because those were my closest friends at the time. And we were milling about, and I was like, do you want a tour of the house? And she said, sure. And it's a pretty big house. So we went up a couple of flights, and we were up in the attic, and we were in the turret, and we got up to the attic, and she paused for a minute and she said, can you hear that thing up here? Can you hear the music? And I was like, no, you can't even really hear it in the next room. It's not designed to be blasted. It's not like a radio. It's just meant to play softly. And she was like, so you can't hear it up here? And I said, no. She said, but I can feel it. And I said, I know. Right. I can actually feel it outside when I come into the driveway. And she was like, this is incredible. It is just incredible. And so that to me demonstrated the field that the tech creates is palpable. animals are drawn to it. It does give you a feeling of coherence. It gives you a feeling of relaxation. It gives you a feeling of being hugged. It gives you a feeling of love, and it gives you a feeling of harmony. That's what's imbued into the field in my home. So generally speaking, when people come over, they don't want to leave.
Oh,
They come over and they just want to hang out. We forget the time because we get to talking. I host groups here, and uh, it's always playing, and people don't necessarily notice it. And I can turn it up and turn it down, and it's turned up a little bit because I was trying to have it come across on the speaker,
yeah.
um, over my speaker.
Hmm.
But generally speaking, it's not something that you can hear throughout the house, but it helps when it's turned up. You can feel it in the floor, you can feel the vibration. But more than that, when I get home, I don't bring my work home, because the moment I get home, everything fades away and I just feel relaxed. Um, so in this image, I was imbuing the water and my tuning forks and the crystals that I use and some stones with the feeling of the core harmonizer.
Wow.
Um, so that's what you see in this image.
Okay. And I'm just sort of wondering, the if you're imbuing the crystals, your crystals must be unbelievably powerful at that point, because it's also about the energies, because the crystals themselves are also very sensitive. So if you realign all the harmonics in the crystals, do you feel that the crystals are just like, I don't know, popping, like they're just almost glowing,
They're
if you
they're
will?
happy. They're happy and they're clean and they're clear, right? Yes. Crystals hold information. They hold information. Vogel crystals, you program them, right?
Yeah.
You program them, their consciousness in and of themselves. And generally speaking, I feel like the crystals in my home are super happy.
Wow.
I don't have to clear them frequently because they're saturated in the field. And it's absolutely lovely. So this is just an example of my kitty hanging out by the core harmonizer because he likes it.
There
They
you
all
go.
love it.
Sweet kitty.
This is an image from the top down so that you can see the layered geometries that are inside.
Okay. And I see the layered geometries that are inside. What are they made of? Are they made of because I see that the box, like the actual core harmonizer, is made out of wood, but the
Yes,
stuff
almost.
inside, what
Yes,
is
it's
that made
wood.
of?
It's wood.
No, on the outside, but inside the little pieces, those are also wood as well?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Correct. They're geometries that are made of wood.
Okay. And the color, the light, is that specific color for that kind of
Yes.
box?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Okay. And is
Or
that
that's
color, is that like the heart chakra or
so I forget exactly what it's called, but the color has a very specific frequency
okay.
that Ross chose because of how it imbues the field. It's an I want to say insanely, incredibly healing color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. That's pretty cool.
When you look in, there's actually also mirrors so that as you look in, it reflects back up.
Okay,
They're
nice.
just I'm still blown away that Ross was able to create this. I'm just
It's
complete.
really nice, but it's the right time right now, right? So all
Yes.
these people are coming into our lives at this time to create the machines and the devices that we'll need for the new age. So thank you so much, Mr. Newkirk, for all that you do. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't actually call them machines, we call them units
Units. Okay.
because we believe that there's consciousness. The consciousness field that is created by these beings. It's consciousness is a living thing. It's organic, it's palpable.
Yeah.
So we don't really call them machines, we call them units. And I don't know why that feels different. Ross may be able to
No,
explain
it
it a
does.
little
It makes sense though. If you want to just move that little box there again, so we can see the word core
better.
harmonizer there. Yeah, there you go.
I'm moving it out of the
There
way.
you go. There you go. So then now we have different types of wood here. We have pine,
Yep.
oak, and cherry. So the different wood emits a different frequency, or is it just an aesthetic
It's an
thing?
aesthetic
Okay.
preference. I'm not sure if the pine ones are still available. I know that the oak and the cherry are. But yeah, it's just a preference. Moving along. This is an example of the Vogel cut crystals that Ross sells.
Okay.
And they're also within the technologies
Okay. So
utilized
you talked
technology.
briefly about it, but
Mhm.
so we have here. So these crystals, are the crystals also used in the machine, or is the crystal that's something else that you do that you could
They
use for your
are they
personal
are
self?
in the units.
Okay.
Yep, they're utilized in the units because crystal directs and amplifies frequency. That's why they're used in most technologies. It's why they're used in computers and watches and your cell phones all have crystal in them. But the coherence of Vogel crystals is very specific and very healing. And like it says here, Vogel cut crystals are a natural quartz crystal that are carefully cut in conformance to the findings and teachings of Marcel Vogel, who passed in 1991. They're crystals that are often used in meditation and energy work and clearing work. The crystals are cut to specific in a specific way that maximizes the collection, amplification, and transmission of the universal life force energy, also often referred to as chi or simply as energy.
Okay. And are these the type of crystals like can we also buy these crystals if we wanted to, let's say, wear them on our body or something like that?
Vogels are not designed to be worn. They're
Okay.
rather large. They're large.
Okay.
Yeah, they're and the one in that image was smaller, but you can get them quite large, but they're pricey.
Okay.
They're because they're technology, right? They're specifically utilized for healing technology,
Okay.
or by healers to use them as tools to assist people in healing themselves.
Fair enough. Okay.
So this next piece of technology is called the quantum flow technology. The quantum flow technology allows for personal immersion into a coherent environment. This environment facilitates the release of stress and it promotes renewal and well-being. Using information field technology, the quantum flow unit assists in raising consciousness and aids in the release of emotional and/or physical disruption from one's energy field. Quantum flow technology incorporates advanced elements of light and sacred geometries in addition to enhanced music incorporating 432 and 528 Hz frequencies to create a harmonious, coherent information field. The beneficial field of the quantum flow unit interacts positively with the human biofield, causing the biofield to become even more coherent and harmonious itself. This results in feelings of peace and an overall sense of renewal, and these results extend past the time of the session to offer an ongoing and expanded experience of coherency. And what I like to say is the more you utilize the technology like the quantum flow and the light field, the more you can recall that level of coherence. You actually learn how to create it with your own thoughts. And Mark Newkirk was famous for saying that we were the most profound organic technology in existence. It was within us. And so this technology, he also said that this technology wasn't designed to be utilized forever. It was designed to be training wheels to help us truly remember who we are, that we are those omniscient, multidimensional beings capable of creation. It's why I believe Jesus said what he said, or Yeshua said what he said about we are able to do things even more amazing than he could. But we have to be unstressed, grounded, and coherent in order to utilize the technology that's organic and already within us, to utilize our thoughts, to utilize choice, to utilize our emotions in a conscious, coherent way, really, we're again at the beginning of comprehending what we are capable of. It's pretty phenomenal. This next image is an image of a Cohere meditation mat. I believe I have two in the slideshow. One is the Cohere meditation mat at what used to be Awaken Wholeness when we were in Wakefield. But this is the mat. So it's a lot more than just a meditation tool. It assists in elevating the body's physical frequency to more closely match one's own unique energetic blueprint of the ideal self. Okay, so your consciousness in its perfection, once you're releasing the things that are distorting that, this is also getting you into that state of more powerful conscious creator. Okay. So the frequency elevation prompts the release of stress and emotional blockages. Oftentimes, when I've been on this tech, I have had emotional releases. I have energetic releases, when you the tremors or the jolts that come out of the body. It helps to release stress and emotional blockages. And that in turn leads to a greater sense of peace and renewal once you've used the technology. This is just an image of my cat on the Cohere mat in my foyer. He loves the mat. He grounds on it. It's always plugged into ground. And so where he's sitting on the massage table that the mat is on top of is where the grounding pieces where your feet would be. He loves that spot. He's constantly there. He loves the ground because he doesn't go outside unless supervised.
Yeah, but though, isn't it just like animals, though? Animals are always so attuned to that sort of thing. And so when there's something positive or there's an energy that is available, animals will just naturally be attracted to that. So I just find that kind of interesting. If animals are going, especially the cats, that it's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so I think one of the last slides here is just another image of the light field unit closed. So you can see it closed.
Okay. So the image we saw before was that it was open and you sort of slide the bed out, and now the bed is wheeled, like rolled right into it.
So the table that's inside stays inside.
Okay.
When it opens, the stairs get pushed into the unit. So you are able to walk up and then lay down on the table, and then the stairs are taken away. They're rolled back, and then the unit is cranked closed.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's not bad.
Yeah. So the light field and the quantum flow, both, you can receive remote sessions. You don't actually have to be in person because there's only one light field. There's one light field in the world. We also utilize the light field to do world peace meditations on the first and third Sundays of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the evenings. The light field offers that. It's a half-hour meditation.
Okay.
And then the very last image is just one of the body harmonizers, which are like the cell phone harmonizers. And I can actually, when I stop the screen share, I can show you the cell phone harmonizers I have on my phone. But this is a body harmonizer, and it's made of multiple materials, but mostly shungite, ground into powder, and then mixed with other materials and poured into a non-toxic mold. And they have different, if you go on to the Conscious Technologies website, there's a number of different images, and that's just preference. The images don't necessarily imbue it with anything specific unless you are really resonate with the image. And the one that I have and wear often has a Sri Yantra on it because that's an image. I also have it up behind me. That's an image that that's a geometry that I specifically adore. I feel very connected to the Sri Yantra. But yeah, if we stop the
Okay.
screen.
Well, we can see you now. So you've stopped screen sharing. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about the cell phone? There's been a lot of talk about, obviously cell phone, 5G, and all those types of waves that are really. And, it's funny because it sort of occurred to me the other day. I says, all of a sudden we're having a lot of these sort of like, issues with people mentally, and I was thinking, I wonder if a lot of those types of cell phones. I mean, look, I know there's natural sometimes to have people to have like autism and different types of things happen to them. But I was just thinking, I'm wondering if some of these sort of cell phone towers are causing a lot of this, a lot of the mental challenges that people are experiencing. And that maybe they're adversely affecting people. Because I know there are a lot of people who cannot exist in an environment where there's too much cell phone activity because it's just all over the place. I can imagine the Shungite meditation chamber that you were talking about at the beginning. That could be kind of interesting because it must cut you off completely from all that kind of stuff. No?
Yeah, it offers quite a buffer. So the technology like the body harmonizer and the cell phone harmonizer, there are technologies out there that say that they block EMF. But if they blocked EMF, then your cell phone wouldn't work.
Okay.
Because your cell phone needs the electromagnetics to function,
Okay.
right? So the difference here is that the difference is between the electromagnetic field that is generated by the human heart, it moves clockwise. The electromagnetic field that's generated by man-made technologies move counterclockwise.
No, isn't that interesting? That's saying something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so the technologies that Conscious Technology creates is meant to assist the EMF field of man-made tech to reverse, and it's kind of like a buffer, like a 3-foot buffer on either side of you, where it's helping the field reverse so that it's working in harmony with your body and not against it.
Okay.
And so if you go on the technology's website, you can actually look up the testing photos that Ross shares freely with people to share images of how they've tested it and what they've done and what their findings were, and then testimonials from people. But they sell, like I said, the body harmonizers, which they sell as jewelry, the necklaces, and then the same kind of tile, that round tile, can be attached to the phone, to your cell phone,
Okay.
for example.
Okay. Okay,
I
great.
I have a few of them.
Yeah, can you
So
sort of pull back a bit just so we can just take a pull back? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Keep it there, right there. Okay, so you have one that's the flower of life. You have one that's sort of like
I have the seed of life, and I
seed-
have the Sri Yantra. This
the
is the seed of
triantra.
life
Yeah. Yeah.
and the Sri Yantra. Yeah.
Okay. And you have a couple of them on your phone because you need more on your phone, or is it this particular?
My phone is really ancient.
Okay. Okay. So it's going to give off some of those nasty
It's
vibes.
it's really ancient, and I actually it's good enough to have one, and I had that first one, but then I saw the Seed of Life one that Ross had,
Okay.
and I became so intrigued with it because you can actually see gold flecks in it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
And
if that's coming across, but I fell in love with it, so I bought it.
okay, and there's a smaller one, a little smaller one with more like sort of like metal. What's
That's
that
someone
one?
that's someone else's tech.
Okay.
That's somebody else's tech. And
Okay.
it's not because I feel like I need it, but because they're people that I adore and I wanted to support them.
I
And
understand.
where else am I going to put it? I put it on my phone.
Okay.
But yeah, so I
Oh. Again. Wow. Okay. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to. I'm not sure what's happening with poor Ingrid here. It seems that our Zoom. It looks like it might be coming from our side, but it looks like Zoom still freaked out. But I don't have it on my screen. I don't have it. So it looks like we're going to have to wait for her to sort of come back on. But yeah, so it's very, very interesting. And do we have her back? Yeah. All right. So we'll just sort of... okay. What's happening? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're I think this new computer is obviously not working. I'm just speaking with my tech guy, and it looks like we're going to have to really make some serious changes because this computer, we've had this computer conk out 3 times. Do we know what's going on by any chance? Because I sure don't. In any case, this is not working, but I think that we're going to have hopefully Ingrid join us as soon as possible. But until then, if you have any questions about the core harmonizer, put them in the live chat. And when Ingrid is about to come on right now, Ingrid, it's, yeah.
Holy moly, there is some...
Really? Yeah, no, I think it's on our
interference or something.
side. We have a new computer, and obviously it's going to have to go way of the dodo because it's not working. But we were just talking a moment ago about the reason why you have those little, the little square parts on your, not the square parts, but the little round things on the back of your phone. So
The
did you
cell
want
phone harmonizers?
Yeah, cell phone harmonizers, yeah.
So I have different ones because I know different creators, and just wanted to support my friends. And where else am I going to put them? I don't have more than one cell phone. I have one cell phone, so I just put them all on my phone.
Okay, great.
But my phone is really ancient, and in addition to the body harmonizers and the cell phone harmonizers, they have harmonizers for laptops, iPads. They're square, and they're made of the same materials so that your laptop can sit on it, so that it helps the frequencies be less disruptive to the human that's near them.
Okay, that's great.
Conscious Technologies also sells devices that you put around the house to kind of buffer the entire home.
Okay, and so it buffers the entire home from EMFs, or where's it buffer the home from?
It in the same way that what I mentioned about the spin.
Okay.
It helps reverse the spin so that it's working in harmony with
With the
you.
harmony with the body. Okay, great. And so I know that we had a question before, and we said we were going to talk about it towards the end. And in particular, I mean, let's be honest, when you open up this new center, it'll be located where again? Just to sort of for our members that just arrived.
So the healing center
exactly.
is called Awaken Wholeness Center.
Okay.
And that's in Richmond, Rhode Island.
Richmond, Rhode Island. And is there going to be other places across the United States, or is it just going to be in Richmond, Rhode Island?
No, we're just in Richmond, Rhode Island, but we do remote sessions, right?
Okay.
Because the information field it transmutes time and space.
Okay, cool. So how would that work exactly? So here I am, I'm here in Montreal, and I would like to have a session. How would I go about doing this exactly?
So it functions in the same way that remote healing sessions work, remote Reiki works, remote Biofield tuning works. Same premises. Information field is about this idea that time, space is sort of an illusion of the matrix. And we are connected. We're never disconnected. It's an illusion that we are disconnected from one another.
Okay.
And a lot of I just want to say real quick, the technology that's created that the Newkirks have created to assist people are about raising a consciousness level of people, to empower people to heal themselves, because no one really outside of you can heal you. It is you that does the amazing work. And now healers can facilitate you healing yourself, but you are really doing that work.
Okay.
And you're doing it because you're an amazing being. And the less stressed you are, the easier time you will have of it. So self-care is really critical. It's really, really critical.
Well, especially now, eh? Especially now.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes. So if you wanted a session, you would no, I want to stress that Awaken is not technically open yet. We're not open for business. But once we open, you'll be able to just go online and book an appointment. If you want to come into the center, if you're able to do that, you can come in and have an in-person session. If you want to book a remote session, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to book a remote light field session or a remote quantum flow session.
Okay.
Those are the two technologies that do remote sessions.
And when is the center, the Awaken Center, going to be opened again?
Hoping
Hoping.
by mid to late May, but don't hold me to that. That's my projection. But stuff happens.
Of course.
We're working on it. We're getting closer and closer. We're almost there. And we're super excited that we're almost there, but we're not quite there yet.
Okay, but you know what though? I'm thinking Rhode Island is not that far from Montreal. And you know what?
Come and visit.
Yeah, you know what? I really think that this is very, very important work. And I would like, whenever you guys are open, I think we should do an episode as you're opening and really introduce people to the center. What do you think, guys? I think that would be cool. We could do sort of like a launch of for the members of the Starseed.
Awaken Wholeness Center. That'd be awesome.
That would be an awesome episode, eh? So, guys, stay tuned. We're going to try to figure out a way to sort of go down to Rhode Island and check you guys out. And so just going back to what somebody was saying, and I hate to ask, sorry, did you want to add something first? Or
I did. I wanted to go back to just sort of, it's, for me in my mind, it wraps it up. Because the idea behind these technologies is to get people to the place where they are able to, at will, call up the feeling, invoke that feeling, recreate that information field around them, because their consciousness has the ability to do that. And once you do that, you are elevating yourself. You're developing your consciousness. You are no longer controlled by external circumstances. And the third dimension that we've mostly created collectively from a place of unconsciousness. We have helped to create the world we are in because we've pretty much been programmed to believe that we are alone and separate. But if there's anything that the last several years have taught us, it's that we are not separate, living on islands or in silos. We are deeply connected. The field is connected between us. There's really no separation.
Absolutely.
We are connected to the energy that has created the universe. We are part of it, and we are part of each other. So what we do to each other, we do to ourselves.
Exactly.
And I refer to this as do I have my God goggles on? Am I able to comprehend that when I look you in the eye, if I don't see God, what am I doing?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's also a matter of, because there's some people that live in the 3D matrix. Well, we all live in the 3D matrix, but I'm saying there are people that really are very focused on living in the 3D matrix. And I think if
that's
you're living,
okay.
And that's fine, no, it's fine. But I'm just saying that when you sort of, and I think that this is what I'm trying to get at, is that as we're moving from the 3D matrix into the 5D, we're going to be seeing much more evidence of that. We already know that, we know. But to really see it and to understand it, and I think that it's part of that whole sort of transition from the 3D to the 5D. And if you're living in, and if you just sort of focus on just the 3D, then maybe in some way you are alone because you're just sort of in that silo. It's just it's more about the physical world. But I think that, the 5D is what people are shifting to. And so I think that
Yeah.
that's sort of what's, very, very interesting about some of the work that's being done by Mr. Newkirk, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you can think about it as, are you in your heart space?
Yeah.
Because, your heart is much more powerful than your mind. When you're stuck in your mind and you're stuck in your thoughts and you're stuck in repetitive negativity, you're not in your heart and you're not standing in your power. And you can't actually you can't, so in one of the videos Ross describes this so brilliantly, and he says, in from a lower consciousness, opposites attract, right? Because what you need is sort of outside you, right? But as you elevate, as you become more conscious, as you raise your frequency and you become more self-regulated, you realize your agency in the world. You realize your participation in co-creating what we are all experiencing. You realize and you have the experience of universal laws that like attracts like. We're no longer living in a Newtonian world. Okay? The Newtonian world of physicality and mechanism is only this much of the truth of a sea of physics that we have yet to discover. So in the last 100 years, we have progressed through quantum physics, the particle and the wave, into plasma physics, right? An information field. We're moving into smaller portions of the building blocks of how we actually create reality and that we influence reality. Our thoughts are so powerful. If we're focused in the negative thinking loops, then that's what we're helping to create. If we start to become aware of that by paying attention to our thoughts, we're beginning to shift. If we're in our hearts, the field of the heart can be measured like 25 feet away from the body. The field of the mind can only be measured a few inches from the head. Like when our heads are connected to our hearts, when we're coherent, we are immensely powerful, immensely powerful. And we have the capacity to truly create harmony and love and freedom for ourselves and each other. Joy, the feeling of always being connected to source, of always being connected to one another. There's no reason to feel lonely when you experience the higher fourth dimension into the fifth dimension. But it requires consciousness. It requires an elevation of consciousness and a shift and a willingness to let go of what you have believed in, what you've been taught, into trusting not just the universe, yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing what I believe what this technology is capable of.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And there's a woman, Marika, that works and runs the tech too, and she used to like to say, this technology can jettison you out of that field of feeling victimized through survivorship kind of into thriving. And I truly believe that about this tech.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny because you're saying that you're saying, oh, the lady was saying that it can jettison you into thriving. But that's what I'm realizing is that they don't want, the powers that be do not want us to have that kind of unlimited power. And I'm not trying to just focus on
got
that.
it. Right? We've already got it.
No,
That's
we
the
have
thing.
it, but you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think that it's really right now, the 3D matrix is such that it's trying to give us this impression that we're alone. It's trying to give us the impression that we're limited and that we have no power. And it's that sort of 3D matrix that we're breaking through. We're all Neo in the Matrix, the movie.
Yeah.
And we are all trying to make that,
It works, right? What they have created works really well because when you are hooked into the news, when you're hooked into what's external, when you're hooked into not realizing that what is in front of you is not reality, it's what you've already created from a place of unconsciousness.
Exactly.
You believe that that's reality and that is it. then you are a victim and you don't have the agency to really change your circumstances.
Exactly.
You're in a place of fear, so that's what you're helping to create more of. You're disempowered. But there are so many people helping to build the intensity, the powerfulness of the heart space, of potentiality, of solution rather than problem, right? To be able to get outside yourself and stop the crazy thoughts and actually learn how to make yourself happier, how to be the one responsible for yourself in a way that truly does make you and everybody around you happier.
Exactly. No, exactly. And I had a couple of thoughts that just sort of, ran through my head. Imagine that you're a mother to be and you were having this core harmonizer playing during your whole pregnancy, or playing inside in your nursery, having a core harmonizer in your nursery. Can you imagine what that would do for a child? Especially like in the womb, and then later on in the nursery. I mean, I can't imagine how children must, how that would reorganize a child's head. I mean, that'd be so amazing,
Well, what I'd like to share with you is this experience of my next door neighbor has this amazing white birch, not a birch tree, sorry, chestnut. I don't know where birch came from. In their front yard. It's like 400 years old. It's huge, but it's also dying.
Oh.
It's dying, and they don't want to cut it down because it's been so beautiful and so much of a. They were saying that my neighbors were telling me when they purchased the home, they purchased it from a couple of sisters, and the sisters had these stories that in the 60s, people used to come from all over the towns, and they would hang out and they would meditate around the tree. They would fill the yard in circles holding hands in the 60s and just meditate around the tree because it was so big and so beautiful. And this tree, when I look at the tree, I see Ganesha in it. I see multiple beings in the tree. I can feel them. But since I've been here and since the core harmonizer has been here, that tree is sprouting up on my property, in my yard, in 3 different places.
Wow. So you have like little different shoots coming up, like little green shoots coming up?
Correct.
Wow. So it's moving from the dead husk
Places.
and moving
Yes.
to your
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Their animals, when their animals get outside, they come here.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Let's go to her place.
Right, because I think that the vibration and the consciousness can be felt by the animals and by the kids. The kids are always wanting to come over.
Oh, there you go. And
Play in the yard, yeah.
yeah, and another thought that ran through my head, I'm wondering, imagine this would be a great way if you had like a nice Valentine's Day present, you and your significant other being around a core harmonizer. Imagine what that would be nice. That would be really, really nice, sort of bringing people together and sort of, because I'm thinking the core harmonizer must be able to sort of bring 2 people who are already together even closer. No, like at an energetic level. You know what I mean? What do you think?
It brings harmony into families and into businesses. I mean, we host meditations where folks will come and just sit around the core harmonizer. The core harmonizer room that's going to be at the Awaken Wholeness Center, you be able to fit like a family in there to sit around the core harmonizer and be in there together. It's a really unique, amazing experience.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. So, I think that I have, of course, the question that people want to know is actually I have a question here from Cosmic Detective. A Cosmic Detective asks, how can I get involved and assist in bringing awareness of these technologies? I'm a Reiki practitioner and an astrologer. So if somebody is watching this tonight and they want to sort of get involved and help to bring it out, that's why I asked. I said, is it going to be in Newport, Rhode Island, or is it going to be in other parts of the United States?
Yeah, well, so Ross creates this tech, and units like the quantum flow, he actually creates to sell. He sells them to healing centers. So if you're connected to a healing center, the healing center could potentially get a unit to have. And we do have, when you go on his website, you can actually look up. There are several healing centers in the United States that have them. So
Have what exactly? Would have the harmonizer? What do they have?
Some of them have a few pieces of the tech.
Okay.
There, I believe there's one in North Carolina. I can't remember where they
Okay,
are.
sure.
There was one in New York City. They had several of the technologies, but they actually closed down because of COVID and sold their tech. And Ross and I went to New York City to take the tech apart and deliver it to the next people who purchased it down in Miami. And so, you can. So the units can be purchased for individuals, but for the most part, they're created for healing centers, for spas, for homes, for businesses, for people to utilize in that capacity. And if you are interested in going to the Awaken Wholeness Center, awakenwholenesscenter.com or Conscious Technologies LLC.com, you can sign up for the newsletters to be notified of when we open.
Okay.
When we're going to have our grand opening.
Okay, great, Sasha. Definitely put the Awaken link in the description below. I do have the LLC, the Conscious Technologies LLC link below, but in terms of the Awaken, we'll definitely have a link to that. So I'll do that after. And last but not least, so how much is a core harmonizer? Let's just be honest. What are we looking at?
They're not cheap because they take a lot to make. They run from around, I think they're $5,100.
So $5,100 US. Okay, so that's a car harmonizer. And then the mat, how much is the mat?
I believe it's 6,000.
Okay. Okay, and I think, well, obviously
They also sell what's called the sleep unit. So it is somewhat like a Cohere meditation mat, but it doesn't have the box with the music. It's just the mat with the tech inside that you put in your bed underneath your sheet. So you're getting grounding, and I beta tested that thing, and boy, do I want one.
Okay.
Oh, I want one, but it's like $1,000. And I mean, to purchase the core harmonizer that I have took a lot of saving up.
Okay. And did you buy it outright, or are you able to sort of like lease? I'm just asking because there might be some people who would like to, obviously can't throw down $5,000, but can they lease it? Can they rent it? How does that work exactly?
Depending on your location, I think they can be rented because we have to be able to deliver it to you. Or Ross has to be able to get it to you. I'm not sure how far out he will do that for. And I know that someone has talked to him about like a payment plan, like maybe in 3 payments or in 2 payments. I forget exactly how he does that. But you can find that information on his website, or you can connect with him via his website. And I'm sure he'd be happy to answer those questions.
Okay, great. And last but not least, I do have here, Convict Detective says they live in Miami. You don't by any chance know if there's anything in Miami in terms of that technology?
So the Miami thing, it was actually purchased by an individual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually went down thinking it was going to a center, but it was purchased by an individual.
Okay, well, they're very lucky, so they're probably enjoying it right now. But I'm hoping that at some point, actually, I have somebody saying here, I would definitely tune into an opening episode of Awaken Homeless Center. So we definitely should do that. We should definitely do that because I think that that's something that we could, that's my next question. If you want to have a session, how much is a session? Online, like if I call in and I want to have like a remote session, do we know anything about that? I don't know if that's too soon.
You know what? It might be too soon.
Okay,
I don't know what it is, what it's going to be when we open. I know what it used to be at the Light Field when it was here in Western Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably not going to be the same
Okay.
because that was a nonprofit.
Okay.
And for a while we had a reduced rate for people because it was during COVID and people were struggling so much.
Okay. But just
So
curious,
it
how much
won't
was
be
it?
that.
How much was it at the time? Just curious.
So the sessions were at one point I think they were 75 and then they went to 60 and then we didn't believe in turning people away, and so we would take $30 for a session during the height. We did that during
Okay.
the height of COVID.
Okay, I think I just got a message here from Mr. Newkirk. It's here from Conscious Technologies LLC. We only rent locally in Rhode Island. Okay, so
Okay, there you go.
thank you so much, sir. But
Ross.
Ross, if you're listening, and I wanted to say thank you for being here tonight. And I apologize for all the technical difficulties, but I'd love to come and meet you in Rhode Island, you and your wife Heather, and definitely like to have an episode there. So that is definitely going to
It
be
is
in the
my
cards.
dream. I just want to share
That-
this.
yeah.
It is my dream.
Yeah.
If the RV ever happens, right? Or magically creating. I am magically intending to
Yes.
create a mobile unit.
Oh, that would be cool.
With a quantum flow and a cohere meditation mat and a core harmonizer in this mobile unit so that I can go around maybe North America, any place drivable, right? Any place that I could drive to.
Yeah.
I could go to expos, or I could go to conferences, or I could go and bring the technology out for people to be able to try it who can't come out here to try it.
Okay. And I just got another message from, I guess it's Ross. He says, remote sessions through the tech will be $80. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So, Mr. Newkirk, I think we will definitely have to come down and we will maybe try and do some sessions for your opening, for the center. I definitely want to do that, especially with our members. That will be absolutely dynamite. So we're definitely going to keep on top of that, guys. Keep your eyeballs here. We are definitely going to do this for sure because we have to get this out here to everybody. And
I just want to say, Heather had texted me and she said, because I was talking about the trees.
Yeah.
And the animals, and she said, remember the orchids? When the light field was in Western Massachusetts, we had a whole kind of table full of plants and orchids, and they would grow towards the unit.
Oh, you're kidding! Oh, wow. Okay, wow. So, the plants really feel it, and wow,
Yeah,
that's
really
impressive.
It's really wonderful energy. It's wonderful energy.
Oh, that's excellent. And I have one more comment here from You Being Hypnosis. They say, what type or sizes, maybe this is more of a question for Mr. Newkirk, what type of or sizes of healing centers does this core harmonizer get sent or sold to? I don't know if you would know anything about that. Maybe Mr. Newkirk might want to text me and let me know what sizes. But I think it's a message meant for Mr. Newkirk. Maybe, I don't know. But,
all different kinds of places. There are individuals that purchase core harmonizers.
Okay.
There are massage therapists who will purchase them for their, I am friends with a massage therapist who utilizes the core harmonizer. He has 2 rooms and he actually also purchased a cohere mat. So he has a cohere mat in one room and the harmonizer in the other, and he leaves the harmonizer in the room when he's working on people.
And I just want to clarify, the cohere mat, that does what now? I know what the harmonizer is doing now, but what is a cohere mat? Just remind me. It's just for people.
Cohere mat helps to release the trauma and the density from the body.
Okay.
So that you're connecting with your true blueprint.
Okay.
The unit actually also helps to remove it and send that to ground.
Okay.
So it helps ground you.
Okay. And how much is a cohere mat?
The cohere mat, I believe, is $6,000.
$6,000. Okay, I think we talked about that. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
the sleep mat that when I beta tested the sleep mat, I beta tested it for a week, and for a week every single night had multiple lucid dreams.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It's just a grounding mat. It's amazing. I believe. No, I'm not sure. I think it's 1,000.
So if Mr. Newkirk, if you want to text me again, or to put a comment in the live chat, because they're saying it sounds great. We'd love to meet you in person. I would love to meet you in person. Are you kidding? I'm going to be bringing the show to you, and I'm going to bring all our members to you, because I think this is something that it's sort of like imagine what it would have been like to meet Nikola Tesla in person, to be in front of
Toronto, the Toronto groups need to rent a bus and come on down.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to rent a bus and come on down, and we'll figure it out. We are going to figure this out, because I think a lot of people would love to do something like this, and especially if it's in May and the weather's warm, no problem. So, I mean, Mr. Newkirk, you see me here. We definitely have to get in touch. You have my digits, and you have my contact information through Ingrid. So we will definitely work on something. And so I have a comment here from Cosmic Detective saying, for sure, totally would love what you are bringing to the world. I joined your mailing list and reviewed your website. Great. Well, thank you so much. So
Yay, thank you.
Yeah. So, you know what? I think that we are, it's funny, because we're just sort of talking about it so casual and so nonchalant, but this is so revolutionary. This is, like, I mean, it's like, I feel it, but like, I mean, it's just 5 years from now, we're going to look back on this time and say, but my God, you were there when this was coming out. Mr. Newkirk was putting this out. Heather and Ross Newkirk were putting this out, and they were the ones who revolutionized the world. Because I think that one of the things that people are talking about is that, for example, a lot of people have looked at ancient Egyptian technology, and they're talking about how the ancient Egyptians back, and we always think, ancient Egyptians just living in the sand, but no, they were very, very advanced, and they had very advanced technology, very Atlantean advanced technology. The Atlanteans, when they left, was that your cat?
No. I opened my thermos.
No worries. And when the Atlanteans lost their homeland, they moved to ancient Egypt, and they also went to the Incan Empire. And one of the things that they brought a lot of their technology with them, a lot of them was crystal technology. And what you often hear is that the ancient Egyptians used sound and sound technology to build and frequencies to build the pyramids, but also to heal the body as well. So this is very ancient technology that Mr. Newkirk and his father were tapping into. And of course, that both men are very smart, but there's also a certain level of that information traveling through the Akashic records. And at some point, somebody really sort of connects to it. And so I'm thinking, maybe Mr. Mark Newkirk or his son Ross are connected to that technology and are bringing it to us in this day and time, especially when we need it. So
Mark would have loved to hear you say that.
Well, he's hearing me say that now, because they're watching, right? But I really do believe that, and I feel that yes, they're very, very smart, intelligent men. But there's also the fact that certain people come into this lifetime to advance humanity, and to advance where we are in humanity, and it's to advance that technology, and that technology helps mankind move along. So it's something that is very, very crucial. And I just want to say, I'm glad that I'm alive I wasn't there to meet Nikola Tesla, but I'm here and alive to sort of be a part of this as well. So I feel very, very honored. And, Ingrid, you really are so instrumental in bringing this knowledge to the rest of us, because this information is going to be out there now, and it's going to be on YouTube. So there you go.
It's a sort of pay it forward, because of truly, truly, truly changed my life. I feel like I used to be almost stuck in a prison of the 3D matrix, right? In a world of feeling separate and lonely and sad and angry and helpless. And I do not feel any of that. I mean, granted, I feel like as a child, I knew, because I could see trajectories and I could interact with inner dimensions. I knew sort of what I was hoping for and what I wanted, but I got jaded, and I feel like the tech that the Newkirks have created helped shake that out of me. It helped shake my remembrance back in,
Exactly.
and and a whole lot of self-regulation. I'm really grateful, and I can't stress enough how amazing this technology is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm honored to be able to talk about it.
And we're honored to be here.
I don't know that I can do it justice. I don't know that I can do it justice in the way that,
Absolutely. No.
but I can share my experiences, and I can encourage you all to check it out yourself, and to look them up and to be involved. I mean, the Lightfield meditations that we do a couple times a month utilizes some of the Lightfield tech.
Okay.
And it's sort of like it's a world peace meditation with you have to kind of see it to experience it.
Okay.
There's a video up on the Lightfield website, an older video that you can look at to see kind of what it's like. It's a 21-minute video.
Okay.
And it's designed with visuals to help people who have trouble meditating.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome to sign up for our newsletter and get the invites to that.
Okay, great.
That's something that the Lightfield, that the nonprofit provides. So
Okay.
you're welcome to do that too.
Okay, great. And I would definitely like to see if maybe we can do a Lightfield meditation here for our members as well. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that could be really, really cool. I definitely look into explore that. So just before we wrap up, I'd just like to read a couple of messages from the Conscious Technologies from Ross and Heather. He says here, new being hypnosis. There are a number of centers, mostly in the United States, chiropractors, float centers, and massage centers. And also say more of the core harmonizers out there go to individual homes, though. So, people are very lucky if they can, sort of slap down that money and get one for their home. They're very, very lucky. And then we also have, excuse me, there is a quantum flow in Miami, but it is in a private residence. Hopefully a center will be open there in the future.
Bless you.
Excuse me, I know. God.
Bless you. Bless you.
Bless me. Thank you. Please do. So with that, I would like to say thank you, Ingrid, for being a part of our show this evening. Excuse me.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share this stuff with you.
Absolutely. And I would also like to thank Heather and Ross Newkirk for bringing this technology to us. The planet will know your name, and you will go down in history, and you are going to be helping mankind in so many ways. So I really look forward to meeting with you and to connecting with you and doing shows with you. And again, Ingrid, provide me with the information for the Wellness Center. We'll put that in the chat down below. And I want to say thank you to all our members for tuning in tonight, and and for putting up with us for all our technical difficulties. I am so sorry. It was just awful time. I don't know how happened, but I'm so glad if you stuck around, and you got this beautiful gift of learning about this technology. And as always, people like and subscribe. It really helps us. I really want to get this information out there. And the more of you that subscribe, the more of you that like, let's be honest, the analytics on here on YouTube, it really would help us and it'll help to get the information out there. So I would really hope if you're here tonight, please like and subscribe and help us out on the channel. And as well, become a member of the Starseeds and Lightworkers Collective at meetup.com. And we'll be back again with Ingrid and the Conscious Technologies in the near future when they open up. And you never know, we might even try to, get people to come down and do a big group. We have a big meetup, like a real meetup, why not? So that would be cool. That would be cool. Thank you so much, Ingrid, for coming down and for speaking with us. Your experiences are so heartwarming. And it shows that we can all heal. We're all able to heal. And I think that
Yeah.
this machine will help us to, it'll be the next step in healing. It's a new frontier, as it
Yeah,
were.
training wheels.
Training wheels right now, but that's the new frontier.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you at the next meetup. Okay, take care. Love and
Thank you
light.
so much. Good night.
Mwah, mwah. That's great.